You're listening to Short History Shorts audio, where history speaks louder than images. The year is 264 BC. The Mediterranean is teeming with trade, power struggles, and expanding ambitions. On one side, the Roman Republic, a rising land power that had just secured dominance over the Italian peninsula. On the other, Carthage, a naval juggernaut with centuries of maritime trade and a powerful philosophocracy that stretched across North Africa, Sicily, and parts of Spain. The First Punic War, the longest and one of the most costly wars of antiquity up to that time, would rage for 23 years and leave both empires permanently changed. It began over a small, strategically located city in northeastern Sicily, Messana. This seemingly minor city would become the flashpoint that ignited a titanic struggle between two superpowers in the making. The Mamertines, former mercenaries from Campania, had seized Messana and ruled it as pirates. Under threat from the powerful city-state of Syracuse, they sought help, first from Carthage, then from Rome. Carthage, always interested in expanding or protecting its Sicilian holdings, accepted and garrisoned the city. But Rome, always wary of Carthaginian expansion near Italy, could not tolerate this. When Rome sent a force to liberate the city, the stage was set. Carthaginian troops were expelled, and alliances hardened. Thus began Rome's first major war outside of Italy. A war that would be fought on land and sea, in Sicily, in Africa, and beyond. The early years of the war were dominated by Sicilian campaigns. Rome, although new to overseas warfare, showed aggressive initiative. They laid siege to key cities and attempted to cut Carthaginian supply lines. But the real turning point came when Rome, a land-based power with almost no naval tradition, decided to build a fleet to challenge Carthage's dominance at sea. Using a captured Carthaginian quinquereme as a model, the Romans built an entire navy nearly from scratch. More than that, they innovated. The corvus, a boarding bridge with a spike on the end, allowed Roman marines to turn naval battles into infantry skirmishes, where they excelled. The result was dramatic. In 260 BC at the Battle of Mylae, Rome won its first naval victory. Commander Gaius Duilius became a celebrated hero, and the war entered a new phase. Over the next decade, the war seesawed. Rome struggled to maintain control of its newly built navy, and Carthage often regained dominance with superior naval tactics and seamanship. But the Romans were relentless. In 256 BC, Rome took the audacious step of launching an invasion of North Africa under the consuls Marcus Atilius Regulus and Lucius Manlius Vulseo. This campaign initially achieved stunning success. Roman forces defeated Carthaginian armies and captured territory near Carthage itself. Panic gripped the Punic capital, but Carthage was not defeated so easily. They hired a Spartan mercenary commander, Xanthippus, who reorganized the army and used cavalry and elephants to crush the Romans at the Battle of the Bagradas River in 255 BC. Regulus was captured. Roman losses were catastrophic, and the African campaign ended in failure. After that, the war bogged down into years of indecisive fighting in Sicily. Neither side could land a knockout blow. Rome lost fleets to storms, most infamously in 255 BC and again in 253 BC, losing hundreds of ships and tens of thousands of sailors. But they kept rebuilding. Persistence became their greatest strength. Meanwhile, Carthage faced its own struggles. Its decentralized political structure and reliance on mercenaries made prolonged war difficult. Revolts in Africa and financial strain began to tell. Carthage's great strength, its navy, was also a liability, requiring constant investment and manpower. In 241 BC, Rome made a final push. A rebuilt fleet under Gaius Lutatius Catullus won the decisive Battle of the Agates Islands, cutting off Carthaginian supply routes. Carthage ceded Sicily, paid a massive indemnity, sued for peace. The resulting treaty was harsh. Carthage ceded Sicily, paid a massive indemnity, and was forced to recognize Rome's primacy. Sicily became Rome's first overseas province. But the costs had been staggering. Both sides lost hundreds of thousands of men. Rome had launched itself onto the global stage but paid dearly in blood and treasure. Carthage had suffered humiliation but was not destroyed. Yet, seeds of vengeance would be sown in this peace. The First Punic War was not just a regional struggle. It was a preview of the epic rivalry that would define Mediterranean politics for over a century. It showed the adaptability of Rome, the might of Carthage, and the beginning of a pattern of escalation that would lead to even greater conflicts. Hamilcar Barca, father of Hannibal, would emerge from this war with dreams of revenge. Rome would learn from its mistakes and begin perfecting a model of imperial expansion, and the Mediterranean would never again see peace for long. This was only the beginning.